Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Talladega Super Speedway. We've made it to the penultimate race of the season here in the 2024 Turkey Hill Truck Series. It began in late August with a Super Speedway race at Daytona. It ends on Christmas Day at the Homestead Miami Speedway. But the path to that race starts now, the penultimate race of the season. Tomorrow at noon Eastern Time, the Cookout 250 here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. And a huge race, a huge race in terms of this championship. We've said that about every single race leading up to this. But this is a race that can completely turn it right over, just like that. You got Blaine Keys, 24 points ahead of Leonard Koshmer, 49 points ahead of Nicholas Amadio. But nobody is safe at a track like this. Talladega Super Speedway, a very treacherous racetrack. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, that could wipe you right out. And Blaine Keys has to be careful not to wipe himself out. His teammate Ludovic Charette went flipping over at the Daytona International Speedway. Gotta watch out and make sure that that does not happen tomorrow afternoon. But we're qualifying here today. Group A and Group B, only 5 minutes in each group too. So these guys are only going to have a little bit of time to get their times in right here. And obviously you want to be drafting alongside someone. No one really has that right now, so it's really pure speed out of these trucks at the moment that we have these guys. Of course, top three make it onto the Fast Six, then it is single car runs. It's all about the speed in the truck, and this type of racetrack favors completely different teams than what we normally see throughout the rest of the season. And with that in mind, we could very well see a first-time winner this season in tomorrow's event. Zachary Fitzwater, first one out there. Now, you may notice he is 18th listed in the points, but he does hold the tiebreaker on Avery Alford for the 17th position. Hence, he is in the first group here, and will more than likely start on the inside lane. Where you start doesn't matter too much in this race. However, if you do get an early wreck, you do not want to be deep in the field if that does occur. You want to be able to control where you end up being for that. Fitzwater is going to be the first one to complete a full lap under speed, 53.462. Caleb Rose right behind him, significantly faster, 53.099. Let's see, do we got anyone working with each other here? We got ourselves Roberto Crown Jr. and Andrew Williams. And Andrew Williams, 52.516. I believe Williams actually pulled up on Crown Jr. right there. Now, Matthew Burnett, who is essentially still last in points of the drivers who have made every start this season. He is last in the championship standings. This is the truck that won the championship last year when Ludovic Charette was driving for this team. I think Matthew Burnett got a pull off of Igor Barreto right there for his fast time. Let's see where Blaine Keys ends up. He is currently third, drafting off of Bruno Diacoma right there, 52.539. A good starting position for Blaine Keys is all he really needs, because this is a kind of race that he can control and dominate, a lot like what he did in the Valvoline 400 in the Wawa Cup Series. So we'll see if he can make it into the Fast Six, have a good starting position. Roberto Crown Jr. and Andrew Williams helping each other out to go first and second. That's the one thing about qualifying here at Talladega, is you want to have help. If you don't have any help, you're not going anywhere. Nicholas Amadio does not have any help. He's not going anywhere. He hasn't clocked in a fast time yet, but let's be real, he's not going anywhere. These two guys might go somewhere. Joe Rutkowski and Jesse Turner. And Turner pulling off of Aaron Abel right there, and Rutkowski as well. They both go under 52 seconds. Blaine Keys is currently fourth. It's Jesse Turner, Andrew Williams, and Joe Rutkowski currently in the top three to make it onto the Fast Six. Now you have Brian Webb, who has gone to second, pushing out Rutkowski. Andrew Williams on the bubble. Now Roberto Crown Jr. and Andrew Williams bump out Brian Webb, and Jesse Turner is on the bubble right there. Very fast times for Andrew Williams and Roberto Crown Jr. This could be, and I don't want to jinx it for them, but this could be a great opportunity for Roberto to get their first career win on the channel. They can get that thing started up front. I think that truck is good enough to be a contender for the race victory. Sam Amadio is actually closed up on Igor Barreto and Matthew Burnett. I would watch out if I was the field right here. That 23 is going to have a very fast lap next time around. Because he was significantly further behind Barretto and Burnett that last time around. He has pulled right up. Blaine Keys is not even in the top 10 right now. That is not at all where Blaine is used to being. All the way down to 11th here in this group, Nicholas Sambadio, who has to finish ahead of Blaine Keys if he's going to have any mathematical chance going into Homestead. Across the line. He did not improve his time there. That is fascinating. I thought he was going to get a fast one right there, considering how close he was to Barretto. He remains in 14th position. And it's Roberto Crown Jr. has their 3 wide in qualifying. Roberto Crown Jr., Andrew Williams, and Jesse Turner. Jesse Turner is one of 4 drivers who has yet to receive a top 10 finish this season. It's Turner, Andrew Miller, Christian Vargas, and Matthew Burnett. It's a good opportunity that one of those guys might get their first top 10 tomorrow. Especially Jesse Turner, who's looking to make the Fast 6 for the first time this season. There with Andrews Racing. Time's going to run out here, I do believe, and that will do it for Group A. Roberto Crown Jr., Andrew Williams, and Jesse Turner. Blaine Keys will not make the Fast 6 here at Talladega. He will be starting midway through the field. That will be very fascinating in terms of where he ends up finishing, and that's a big deal right there, because if Kochmer ends up finishing ahead of Blaine Keys, the championship is easily going into Homestead on Christmas Day, but Blaine has an opportunity to lock up the championship tomorrow if Kochmer has an issue and Blaine Keys goes on to have a top 5 run. Roberto Crown Jr., Andrew Williams, Jesse Turner, they are all in the Fast 6. Joe Rutkowski will start 7th, LJ Semeta will start 9th, Igar Barretto will start 11th, Zachary Fitzwater will start 13th, Matthew Burnett will start 15th, Corey Case will start 18th. Jack Haas will start... What am I saying there? Matthew Burnett will start 15th. Corey Case will start 17th. Jack Haas will start 19th. Bruno Diacomo will start 21st. Brian Webb will start 23rd. Blaine Keys will start 25th tomorrow. And that's not where you want to be. Let's just put it that way. Aaron Abel will start 27th. Caleb Rose will start 29th. Nicholas Sambadia will start in 31st. Laura Chung will start 33rd, and Andrew Miller will start 35th. It's gonna get interesting tomorrow, no doubt about it. With that starting lineup right there, Blaine Keys is not in a good position right now. It is a long race, but if you get an early wreck, he could be right in the middle of that if he's not careful. And you can't risk getting caught up and have Leonard Kochmer go on to win the race, because Kochmer could take the points lead if something like that happens going into the finale. And oh, that'd be some finale, because Blaine has the potential to have a really good race at Homestead on Christmas Day, if that ends up being the case. I don't know, we're just going to have to wait and see how it all shakes out. Let's see what Leonard Kochmer does here in Group B from Talladega. And here we go for Group B. Of course, Leonard Kochmer in this group, and it's a big deal, especially in terms of the owner's title, which is now a 20-point advantage for Team Velocitar coming into this race, by the way. This race may favor Evans-Ross Racing going in the Homestead then, and we'll have to see how that ends up going, because the owner's title, I feel like, is going to have much more potential to be closer going down the stretch than the Drivers' Championship does. It all kind of depends really on what Thomas Troxel does, because that's been the weak link there for Evans-Ross Racing the last few races, and I say that, and Troxel is 6th in the championship standings. Here's Ludovic Charette, of course, last year's Truck Series champion. Of course, she has announced that this will be her last season in the Truck Series, looking to become an owner next year, and that there's a good opportunity. I'm not going to say it now. I'll let them say it. They have too much fun with what they do. I won't steal the thunder from them. Derek Hamill here in the 51. It has not been a good season for Derek Hamill. 30th in points, and Grattan Autosport has suffered in the owner's standings because of that. Sambadio has absolutely carried that team. Nicholas Sambadio actually nearly has double the points that Derek Hamill does at this point in the season. There's Thomas Troxel in the 93 machine. And a driver who really had potential early on to contend for the championship, but kind of fizzled out at the end, and that's kind of the case for Troxel in a lot of these seasons that we have with the ratings. He's always up there, he's always really good, and just doesn't quite have it when it really matters. Troxel's another driver who has struggled in qualifying. He actually has a worse average starting position than Sambadio does, and we've really have talked about Sambadio's struggles, and Sambadio starting 31st for tomorrow's race. We'll see how that ends up shaking out. This is a racetrack, though, where you can work your way from the back to the front very quickly if you have a good truck. But I think another thing to note, and we really haven't talked about this yet, when we had the Valvoline 400 back in August, and how late in the season that was for the Wall Cup Series, we saw a lot of drivers and a lot of championship contenders lose the draft naturally in that event. Now, I don't think that's going to necessarily happen with these guys, but it's something to keep in mind, that we're going to see some certain drivers who have an advantage over others that we would not see at other racetracks, and this being the penultimate race of the season, I don't think the advantage is in Team Velocitar's camp coming into this race. Next time out, Christmas Day, at the Homestead Miami Speedway, I think Velocitar is going to have an advantage there on the field as they have. Of course, they easily had an advantage last Friday night in the Martinsville race. Finished 1-2 there with Blaine Keys, and Blaine Keys was clearly faster than his teammate Ladovic in that race as well, which made that a very fascinating watch last week. Leonard Kochmer in the 39 would love to start ahead of Blaine Keys in this one, and that's pretty simple to do. Blaine Keys is going to be starting in the 23rd position, 25th position actually, up for Blaine Keys in the race tomorrow, so Kochmer's got a good opportunity starting ahead, and Kochmer can use every point that he can get, so if he gets into that Fast 6, could have a shot at winning the pole, getting a bonus point towards the championship. This is such a fascinating thing that has happened this season. Kochmer actually has a better average finishing position than Blaine Keys this season. The only downside for Kochmer, he has not won any poles or won any races, and that's how Blaine has a 24-point lead right now, because Blaine has won 4 times this year and has won 5 poles. All 5 of Blaine's poles, by the way, were in a row. They were the 5 poles in a row that we had in the mid part of the season there, and since then, Blaine has kind of fallen off just a little bit. But Blaine did get that win last Friday night in Martinsville. It's a huge win for that team. We'll see what Kochmer can do right here, pushing Avery Alford. Kochmer currently in the 6th position. That would still qualify him higher than Blaine Keys. However, Kochmer would be on the outside lane going into tomorrow's event, and that may not necessarily be the best thing. You got Bryce Egan, Emily DeBenedetti, the other Andrews truck made it in. Jesse Turner. Not John Anders. John Anders is the owner of the team. Jesse Turner made it into the Fast 6. John Anders looking to get both of his drivers in the Fast 6. Thomas Troxel has just gone to the top of the board. He got to pull off a Roland Dorn right there. That's a fast truck. Roland Dorn's the defending winner of the Cookout 250. And there's Leonard Kochmer moving his way into the top 3, along with Avery Alford right there. So both the Evans Ross Racing trucks in the Fast 6. That is a big deal, especially if they can start up front and control the race up front tomorrow. Because if that ends up happening, they could swing back to the lead in the owner's title against Velocitar, and we could have ourselves a doozy on Christmas Day at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We'll have to see what Kochmer can do if he can hold on to this time. Of course, we saw 51 ones out of Andrew Williams and Roberto Crown Jr. in the first group, and Jesse Turner was a 55.5 even. So none of these drivers in this session have reached the times that made it onto the Fast 6 in the last session. Leonard Kochmer, though, has gone to the top of the board. 51.590 for Kochmer. There with Avery Alford, still Thomas Troxel in that 3rd position. Skep Silver trying to make it in right here in the 06. Not enough for Skep Silver right there. This is a driver I'm very intrigued to see where he goes next year in the Wall Cup Series, if he makes it into the Wall Cup Series, of course. He will have to sign up for that, but definitely excited to see if he ends up there. And if not, ends up in a light series ride, definitely could contend for a title in the light series if he ends up in one of those. And that's definitely going to be a fascinating route if he ends up going in that direction. Of course, Velocitar and Grattan and all those teams, they got teams over there in the light series. That does it. That does it for Group B. And how about Echo Evans Ross and her team sweeping it into the Fast 6? That is what you needed, trying to get to Matt Tuck's team there, Team Velocitar in the owner's title. And Leonard Kochmer needed that on Blaine Keys in the driver's title. And Kochmer's got a shot at winning his first pole of the season, making it a 23-point gap going into tomorrow. And if Kochmer wins the pole, the way they would actually run if they finished where they would start if Kochmer won the pole, Kochmer would take the points lead going in the Homestead. I'm trying to amp it up for you guys. Somebody did not get a time in. I don't know who that was. That's actually quite fascinating, but somebody did not get a time in right there. And I don't know. We're gonna have to do some investigating. Hold on a second right there. Make sure that everyone did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 drivers there in that session. Who was it? That's a good question. Who was it? We got to figure it out who it was that they didn't get a time in. Now, that's the thing about a big track like this. You got to get out there, and everybody else did it, so what's your excuse, whoever you are? I don't know who it is. We do know that Leonard Kochmar, Avery Alford, and Thomas Troxel are in the Fast Six. Skep Silver will start 8th. Christian Vargas will start 10th. Bryce Egan will start 12th. Jeffrey Finguy will start 14th. Eric Monaco will start in the 16th position. Rogel Dorn will start 18th. Philip Torres will start in the 20th position. Emily DeBenedetti will start 22nd. Nathan Stapleton will start 24th. Duncan Ward will start 26th. Ludovic Charette will start all the way back in 28th. Justin Seidel will start 30th. Matthew Hubert will start 32nd. Derek Hamill will start 34th. Let's figure this out. Who is it? Who is it? Is it Vargas? No, it's not Vargas. It's not Alford. Is it? No, it's not Torres. It's not Hamill. It's not Hubert. It's not Phineas. It's not Stapleton. It's Logan Williams, isn't it? Logan Williams did not get a time in there. That's fascinating. Logan Williams will start 36th, as he does not even post a time in qualifying. You know, you can't get any more unlucky than Logan Williams, I don't think. Like, he is a good driver. He deserves to be running so much better than what he is. And then that happens. Hey, at least it's Talladega. You can only go up from there. So we'll see what Logan Williams does tomorrow. But let's get on to it. Thomas Troxel going to lead us off here in the Fast Six. Let's see who wins the pole here for the Cookout 250 at Talladega. And we had one of the shortest qualifying runs in the Fast Six last week. Yeah, one of the longest ones of the season this week. Actually do go well. Road America and Watkins Glen are on the schedule, but in terms of the oval tracks, we have gone from the shortest track on the schedule to the longest oval track on the schedule. So, be here a little bit longer this afternoon compared to last Thursday night with qualifying. Thomas Troxel. This is a driver, like I said, in the group session. He's kind of fallen off a little bit, and I say that. He's 6th in points, and we're saying that he has fallen off. There's a threshold. The top 8 drivers have a clear threshold ahead of everybody else this season. I would argue you can probably add Stapleton to that list based on how he has run the past few weeks. But, as I stated before, as I stated at Road America a couple of weeks ago, there really are just a handful of drivers that could go out there each week and win. And outside of that one time Eric Monaco went to victory lane, it's been a lot more. Disregard the first lap there. Of course, here at Talladega, they do start the lap getting up to speed, so that lap does not count. This lap does. And Thomas Troxel looking to win the pole, looking to help his team win the owner's title. And that owner's title is going to be very close, especially if Troxel and Kochmar finish well ahead of Charette and Keys tomorrow. If they can go into Homestead with the lead in the owner's title, they're going to have a good advantage, possibly winning that owner's title, even though they may not necessarily have an advantage in winning the driver's title. So that could get very interesting. The driver's title and the owner's title is going to be one of these two teams. Will it be both Velocity, will it be both Evans-Ross, or will they switch off? We don't know. This race will help determine that quite a bit. Troxel slowing it down quite a bit across the line. 54.022 for Thomas Troxel. Got the win at Darlington earlier this season. That was the second race of the season, and that was the last time we saw them in victory lane. In the Truck Series, though. He sets the benchmark. Let's move on to our next driver, and Jesse Turner. And here he is, the winner of the first ever race on the channel. That's an important thing, because, hey, we're about, what? 3.5? No, 4.5. No, 3.5. 3.5 months away from the 10-year anniversary of the first ever race on the channel, which, of course, was won by Jesse Turner. We're very excited for the 10th anniversary race. More information is going to come out later on next year about that, but I have hinted at that being a thing, being a whole celebration on April 1st of 2025 next year. Very excited for that, and I'm sure Jesse Turner is as well, of course, being the first ever winner on the channel. This is his first Fast 6 of the season. It has not been a good season for Jesse Turner here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series this season. It has not been a good year for Jesse Turner on the channel. Quite a lackluster return to the main series here. 171 across the line there for Jesse Turner. Of course, keep in mind, we do run the restrictor plates here in the Truck Series and the Cup Series. The Rating Series, we do run the restrictor plates, but we do not run them in the Pro Series. So keep that in mind. Next year when we're back here for Double Dega, we'll be going 220 again. This lap, I do believe, is going to be slower than what Troxel put down. Of course, Troxel, let's face it, in a much better truck than what Turner has had this season. But you got to hand it to Andrews Racing. They are the little team that can. And, you know, they've had their fair share of drivers in these Rating Series. John continues to run this team. And definitely a feel-good story whenever these guys run well. And I definitely root for them. Definitely root for them, especially in the Cup Series. See who they'll end up with next year. They're going to have 2 new drivers there at Andrews Racing next year in the Cup Series. Turner much faster, actually, across the line. And you know what? We do got a feel-good story here. He picked up the speed a lot more in the second half there. 53.567 for Jesse Turner. He goes to the top of the board here in Talladega qualifying. How about that? And here's another little team that could. And hey, this team's actually run fairly well. Stover Motorsports in the top half of the owners' standings. As a matter of fact, I think they might be top. They could be top 5 in the owners' standings, if I'm not mistaken. They're knocking on the door there with teams like Trackhouse and even Grattan. Of course, Grattan has had a tough run with Hamill. Both Avery Alford and Emily DeBenau. Avery Alford and Roberto Crown Jr., excuse me, are both in the top half of points. Alford actually was 14th in points going into last week's race at Martinsville. Fell back to 17th, had a good run at Martinsville. But remember, it was just a couple of weeks ago at Chicagoland. Got that top 5 run in that race with this team. And this is another race that I actually think Alford could win. I genuinely think Avery Alford could win this race. If he gets to start up front, he could definitely be a controlling truck in this event, I do believe, based off of what I've seen with this team so far this season. What the heck am I even saying? You know, get to this part of the year and I just lose it. I'm done. How many consecutive weeks have I recorded and uploaded a race, guys? Just think about that. I'm crazy. I'm actually insane. And I love it. Avery Alford is hoping that he can take this 20. Oh, he's got some good speed down the backstretch. This is even faster than what Turner ran. Topping off here at 183, going into turn number 3. And Avery Alford's going to have a very good opportunity at possibly winning the pole. Now, I'm intrigued to see what Leonard Kochmer does in the 39 machine. However, I don't feel like those Evans-Ross trucks particularly have the speed compared to some of these other teams in the single truck run. So that will make things interesting. Avery Alford's going to go to the top of the board with that 53.357. Very good run for Avery Alford, looking to win his first pole of the season here for Stover Motorsports. A great opportunity for him here at Talladega. And while one Williams brother didn't even get a lap time in qualifying, the other one's in the Fast 6, and Andrew Williams has actually had the better season of the two this year. Broke Boys Garage, they struggled early on. They have found some speed as of late. They have put together some good runs, and Andrew Williams is another driver who could come home with a race victory tomorrow. Of course, Andrew Williams won twice last year in the Turkey Hill Truck Series, driving for Durrani Racing, of all teams. It was a very good season for that team. They have not had as much success over there at the Durrani camp this season. But Andrew Williams trying to put together a run to maybe get top 10 in the point standings at the end of the season. It's a tall task this late in the going, but he's got an opportunity at doing it. We'll have to see what he can do here in the number 11 machine. It's got to be the 53.357 set by Avery Alford. We'll have to see how good of a job Alford, in fact, did here. You've got the 11 machine. You got to also think here, I didn't even think about this. Stover Motorsports also locked out. in the Fast Six as well. So you know that Brad's bringing some pretty fast trucks there at that team, and they've definitely found success on these higher speed tracks, I feel like. So we actually could see a Stover Motorsports lockout right here on the front row of this Cookout 250. Andrew Williams, not as fast down the backstretch as what Avery Alford had, but he is going to come pretty close to the 27. I feel like this is going to be a good enough lap time to split Alford and Jesse Turner, the way I'm looking at it right now, which is pretty solid time to have, and pretty solid starting position regardless for Andrew Williams, making a Fast Six once again. He's definitely picked it up in qualifying as of late. And across the line for Andrew Williams, didn't even realize how slow Troxel was when he put that first lap down. That is in fact a split, and Andrew Williams is second quickest, 53.479. And quite possibly the biggest run here in this Fast Six, though I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think these Evans-Ross trucks quite have the speed that the Stover Brook Boys Garage trucks do. I think with Thomas Troxel posting that 54.022, like I said, didn't even realize how slow of a time that was when he put that down. But Leonard Koshmer, regardless of the fact, is going to start well ahead of Blaine Keys tomorrow. And if he can finish ahead of Blaine Keys tomorrow, that's going to be a huge win for this team, not only in the Drivers' Championship, of course, Koshmer trying to close in on Blaine in the point standings, but also in the owner's title. And both the Evans-Ross trucks are going to be well ahead of the Velocity trucks to start tomorrow's race. And that could definitely change things around in terms of the owner's standings going into the finale on Christmas Day. It's going to be a week and a half until the finale race, so we got a little bit more time until we get to that. So these teams and drivers are going to have a little bit more time to think about it going into that finale race. Of course, some of these guys are going to be in the Wawa Winter Invitational next Saturday from Nazareth Speedway. Looking forward to that one. Cap off the 2024 season officially in the Wawa Cup Series, and my goodness, you know, this is the thing. This is what we saw in the Valvoline 400 last year. A lot of these championship competitors did not have speed at all in the penultimate race. That is why we're adding a second Homestead race as the penultimate race next year in the Wawa Cup Series. Here in the Truck Series, a little bit different. Koshmer is definitely a lot slower than Alford, Williams, and Turner. Will he be faster than Troxel? That is the big question here. Regardless of the fact Koshmer is going to be starting top six, that is huge for this team. I think Koshmer would want to finish ahead of Troxel because odds are Roberto Crown Jr. is going to be way faster than these guys, and Koshmer would like to get an inside lane starting position. We'll see if he has enough speed to beat his teammate. That's the big question. Across the line, 53.992, he does. So he goes to fourth. Crown's probably going to be faster, and that means that Koshmer is going to probably start fifth, which is a great place to start in regards to where he is with Blaine Key. So it's going to be fascinating to see. But it's going to be a Stover Motorsports driver winning the pole here today at Talladega. Will it be Avery Alford or will it be Roberto Crown Jr.? Let's find out here in just a moment. And here we go for Roberto Crown Jr. They've had an interesting season, no doubt about it. They started off very strong. Past few races have been a little bit of a fall-off, but this is a great track for this team. Their teammate Avery Alford, currently the fastest driver. One truck left, so Brad Stover's got a lot to celebrate here today, because regardless of the fact he's going to have one of his drivers start on the pole position and could very well lock the front row. We'll see what Roberto Crown Jr. can do right here in the 01 machine. There's a lot of speed in that 27 for Avery Alford. We'll see if Roberto can match that speed that the 27 has. And it's pretty much a guarantee, I feel like, that this team is going to be faster than Evans-Ross Racing, which is kind of absurd to think about when you really think about the grand scheme of the season. But Talladega is a different animal, especially when we get a late season super speedway race. Things are very unique, and we saw that, of course, in the Valvoline 400 and the Wawa Cup Series this season. And we're going to see it here today. I don't think there was quite the speed there out of Roberto across the line than what we saw out of Avery Alford. But that speed is picking up down the backstretch. He's already at 180. 181, 182, 183. Oh boy, 184. That was some serious speed down the backstretch right there for Roberto Crown Jr. And I feel like this right here may actually be the pole-winning time for this Cookout 250, and Stover Motorsports is going to lock out the front row. Lots of speed out of the 01, going back into the wind right here. That's why that speed goes down just a little bit, but it's 175 across the line. It's 53.020. It's the pole for Roberto Crown Jr. and Stover Motorsports here from the Talladega Superspeedway. And Stover Motorsports locks out the front row in the penultimate race of the season. Let's go ahead and debrief, show you the starting lineup for tomorrow afternoon's, Cookout 250 here from Talladega. And there you have it. Very unique qualifying session, as it always is, but you never know what to expect here. Roberto Crown Jr. and Avery Alford on the front row for the Cookout 250. Stover Motorsports locking out the front row. They're like Team Velocitor out there right now. How about that? Avery Alford with an outside pole is going to be very interesting, especially with Roberto Crown Jr. And those two drivers are going to be hard to beat tomorrow. I genuinely believe that. Andrew Williams and Jesse Turner might have a shot. Leonard Kochmer and Thomas Troxel there in row 3. That's going to be interesting because we clearly saw that there wasn't near as much pace in those trucks there as compared to the guys that went ahead of him. And there's going to be a lot of trucks behind Kochmer and Troxel who are going to be faster. Will they be able to keep it in the draft and keep it in a good position? That is the big question, and Kochmer absolutely needs that if he wants to close in on Blaine Keys. And both of those drivers want it for their owner, Echo Evans Ross, in terms of winning that owner's title. But Joe Rakowski, Skep Silver make up row 4, LJ Cemento, Christian Vargas in row 5, Igor Barreto and Bryce Egan in row 6, Zachary Fitzwater and Jeffrey Finguy in row 7, Matthew Burnett and Eric Monaco in row 8, Corey Case and Robo Dorn in row 9, Jack Haas and Philip Torres in row 10, Bruno Diacomo and Emily DeBenedetti in row 11, Brian Webb and Nathan Stapleton in row 12, Blaine Keys and Duncan Ward in row 13, Aaron Abel and Ludovic Charette in row 14, Caleb Rose and Justin Zaidel in row 15, Nicholas Samedeo and Matthew Hubert in row 16, Laura Chung, Derek Hamill row 17, Andrew Miller and Logan Williams round out the last row. But anyone can win tomorrow, especially with that jumbled up of a starting order. It's going to be a fun race. It's the penultimate race, and we will know how that finale at Homestead is going to look like once we're done after 24 laps tomorrow here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Roberto Crown Jr. on their pole here from the Talladega Superspeedway. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at noon Eastern Time for the Cookout 250, the 17th race of the season in the 2024 Turkey Hill Truck Series. I will see you guys later.